Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about the price action of XRP, taking a look at what's been going on most recently and what we think is going to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Now, if you have not yet joined us in Discord, the link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check that out today? And if you are looking for a little bit more from the crypto space, why not check out the Patreon services that we offer in the description down below. Yes, everything from project reviews to AMAs twice weekly, through to just general kind of support and of course trading and things like that. So if that sounds of interest to you, why not go ahead and check it out in the description below. Okay, let's make a start with this. XRP paired up with USDT. On the hourly chart, Binance is the data source. And we'll talk about a little bit of a breakdown that happened just over here. This pretty much was a kind of yesterday. Entire crypto space kind of really pulled back and then rallied up a bit. Now this is a V-shaped bottom. Now these things, when they're like this, are usually things to avoid, right? Because these are incredibly show incredibly volatile moments. Now when you have V bottoms like this, they usually actually end up with quite an interesting kind of break to the upside, but are very, very unpredictable. Basically, this shows us that there's a move to the downside to potentially wipe out any short positions, whilst simultaneously then just quickly moving right the way back up to take out any short positions, which basically means that the positions that were there now are wiped out, and we end up with this neutral position, right? Unless people's stop losses were up here, basically, or stop losses were down here. At this point, anyone else in between's pretty much wiped out. I mean, that was a pretty close one down here as well. So it's one of those, right? XRP has been unfortunately taken advantage of the liquidity that's been around, and I think the whales have definitely done a very good job at liquidating a lot of people. We've seen XRP as being one of the top three for liquidations pretty much every single day for the last month or so. So it's one of those. It's going to keep a close eye on it. But let's talk about the structure of this. We were tracking as an ending diagonal. Okay, now we'd look at this as a potential wave 4. Okay, and you will look for that one of wave 5 to finish everything off. Now, the problem that I have with this, although not actually kind of like a hard and fast rule, but, I would not have expected kind of wave 4 here to be lower than wave 2 low point. This is very unusual, okay? See, I don't think there's any rules that I can remember from Elliott wave theory. There's a lot of them, but I don't think there's a rule that says that wave 4 can't retrace more than 100% of wave 3. There is no rule to say that. Wave 2 can't retrace more than 100% of wave 1, but there is no rule to say that wave 4 can't retrace 100% more than wave 3. But there is a rule that says that wave 3 cannot be the shortest wave. Okay, so we understand that there is that rule that we want to kind of make sure that that sticks. So if I take a fib from here to here and we run this across to here, then we know that actually wave 1 is the shortest, so that's okay. Wave 5 can go up and wave 3 would still be valid. So it's still possible that this still stays within its structure, but wave 4 definitely cannot come out of this low point here, okay? So we know that 41.68 would be a true invalidation. I don't like the fact, however, that we have already come down lower than the wave 3. Just know that it's not exactly a rule that it can't do that. It's just very, very unusual, and we wouldn't normally expect it. So I'm going to leave the waves here, and we'll kind of see how that kind of maps out continuing going forward. But for now, I'll leave it like that, and we'll just say, okay, well, it might still be an ending diagonal. We do have our 3-wave drop. Oh, that's the wrong tool. Let me go ahead and grab hold of the right one. Here we have our 3-wave drop, 1, 2, and 3. Nothing unusual about that. That's fine. Pretty standard. We move on up, and we obviously see our yellow box here. This is our area of supply. This is also known as a resistance line, depending on your kind of terminology. We think about supply and demand being the key metrics for price movements. This is actually a supply zone. Okay, we can see if I grab my arrow that this is an area that we found as heavy resistance before. Lots of selling pressure here, lots of selling pressure here. We broke through. We turned this previous supply into a demand zone. We rallied on up. We bounced, we fell through back to being our supply zone. here and here. So we know that this is an area that we're going to get rejected from, and so therefore we want to be a little bit cautious with it. Now, the other thing that people will probably notice when it comes to XRP is going to be your head and shoulder pattern. Okay, so we're going to come up here for our head, down here into, the left shoulder there. We'll then move up into our head down here. We'll move up into this potential shoulder and back down again. Okay, and then you can potentially get a breakdown from there. So there's a few things to kind of think about. Now, obviously, we've got the ending diagonal, which would obviously break that structure, but this is still a possibility of something that could play out. Okay, so we want to keep a close eye on these things, and also just bear in mind that, you know, basically head and shoulder patterns happen all over the place. They happen all the time, and that's because basically they're just a bunch of three-wave structures strung together. They don't actually play out all that often, and they've got a reasonably high, success rate of actually playing out. But for the most part, you know, when you start noticing them everywhere and they don't actually play out, it's because basically they're just 3 waves up, 3 waves down, or 5 waves up, 3 waves down, or 3 waves up and 5 waves down, for example, right? They're just a bunch of waves strung together. And so we don't really acknowledge them too much, but here you can, in this particular case, you can see we've gone here 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down, potentially going 3 up, right? And therefore we'll have the head and shoulder pattern potentially, but then gets wiped out. Now, I know some people also say, what about double tops? Well, sure, okay, well, here's this one over this side, and we've got a double top over here. It's not really a double top, though, in the sense that we did have this break in the middle, so that doesn't really work, it doesn't really fit very well. And if I kind of zoom out a little bit, some people were also saying, what about this double top, right? Coming in from up here and over here. Well, again, it's not a double top because they're not at the same price points. You can argue that maybe that one and that one, but then we had that break in the middle, so it's not really a double top if there's a break in the middle, in my opinion. But, you know, we're splitting hairs and things like that at this point. If we take a look at the stochastic RSI, here we can see that we are correcting down quite nicely on this little blip to the downside. So it looks like we're going to be in the oversold area again. The 4-hour chart is already overbought. The 8-hour chart is just coming out of the oversold area. The daily is oversold, and the weekly is overbought. The monthly is oversold. So this little indicator here basically shows us the stochastic RSI across the different timeframes. So I don't have to go through all of the different timeframes manually, but we can see that basically we're going to look for corrections on the 1 and 4-hour charts, but the 8 and the daily actually look pretty good. If we come actually into the 8-hour chart, here you can see that we've got some progression to the upside, so it still looks pretty good. The daily is still looking pretty good. The weekly does need to correct down though. Okay, so at some point we are looking for that move to the downside, but we might actually have to push up a little bit more before that happens. Okay, so again, we're just kind of delaying an inevitable move. I think we're just kicking the can down the road a little bit before we actually start to actually see significant pulls back in the market. Now, that pullback in the market might be a new lower low for XRP. It might not be a new lower low for XRP. One of the things that we know, though, is if we do complete this 5-wave structure, and this to me looks like a 3-3-5 corrective pattern, 3-3-5, okay, and we can break down anywhere from here, okay? You can come down into a new low low. It's not impossible. If we ignore everything from the left of that dashed line, then I would say actually we just look for a 50% retracement, right? If we just ignore, and it's entirely up to you guys. I'm not going to ignore the data, but if you want to be, you know, blissfully unaware of what's on the other side of this dashed line, then sure, you know, just ignore it, and we'll just say, okay, we'll just go for a 50% reduction in price from here, which would be pretty standard of a 5-wave structure, right? So let's hypothetically say we just come up here into a double top, then, you know, what we'll be looking for would be a 50 to 88% retracement under the premise that we are super bullish, right? If we just want to ignore the data that's on the left and we just want to focus in on, you know, our opinions being that they're bullish, then that's actually the area that we retrace down to, right? Between 33 and 41. I'm not going to ignore this because this is important, but, you know, it's entirely up to you. I just give you the data as I see it. My opinion is that actually this is a 3-3-5, and then we can break down anywhere. If we ignore the 3 and 3, then we just look at 5, then it's 5 up, fantastic, we're trending up, we'll move down, we'll come into our accumulation zone, and then we'll just move back up again, right? It's all up to you, however you want to kind of see it. I'm looking at it as 3-3-5, you could look at it just as 5 if you want. I don't really care how you want to look at it, but, you know, my opinion is that actually this is corrective, and we can break down to, you know, whatever low number has to happen next. It's not bound by anything. New structures would have to form out. Okay, so that's kind of where XRP sits right now. It's kind of waiting for a small correction and probably a bit more of a rally to the upside. We're just going to see if we can finish off this fifth wave, if it can come in at all, and take it from there. So if you found this video useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.